Most people spend the week before Easter cleaning their homes, cooking, preparing for family. And that is good. But Padre Pio taught that there is one more thing. Something small, something specific, something that takes less than a minute to do, that most Catholic families have never been told about. He recommended placing something in the window of your home before Easter arrives, not inside the house, in the window, facing outward. And the families who began doing this, some of them generations ago, will tell you that it changed something. Not dramatically, not overnight, but quietly and in a way that lasted. What is it? We are going to tell you exactly the object, the prayer, the right moment to do it. But first, we need you to understand why Padre Pio considered this so important, because without the why, the what is just an item placed on a windowsill, and that is not what he was asking for. If you want to prepare your home spiritually before Easter this year, write in the comments right now, Padre Pio, bless my home. Let that be the first prayer of this moment. And then stay with us, because what we are about to share is something worth carrying with you long after this video ends. Padre Pio spent more than 50 years in a small friary in the south of Italy, in a town called San Giovanni Rotondo. He never traveled far. He never held a prominent position in the church. He did not write best-selling books or give lectures to large audiences, and yet people came to him from every corner of the world, the poor and the powerful, the desperate and the curious, the broken and the merely restless. They came because something about him was different, because when you sat across from him in the confessional or watched him celebrate Mass, you felt, in a way that was hard to explain and impossible to forget, that you were in the presence of someone who had touched something real. He bore the stigmata, the wounds of Christ on his hands, feet and side for 50 years. He suffered, he prayed, he guided. And over those decades, he developed an understanding of the spiritual life that was not theoretical. It was lived, tested and worn into his very body. One of the things he returned to again and again in his spiritual direction of families was this: faith must take up space in the home, not just in the heart, not just in Sunday Mass attendance, in the actual physical space where a family eats, sleeps, argues, forgives and grows. He believed, and the tradition he stood within believed, that the environment we inhabit is not spiritually neutral, that a home where sacred objects are present, where prayer is regular, where faith is expressed visibly, develops a quality that a home without these things does not have. And nowhere was this more important in his view than in the days approaching Easter. To understand why Padre Pio took the Easter preparation of the home so seriously, you have to understand what Easter meant to him, not as a concept, as a reality. Easter was not, for Padre Pio, a holiday that commemorated something that happened long ago. It was the living center of everything, the moment when death was entered from the inside and defeated, the moment when the story of the human race turned on its axis, the morning when a sealed tomb became the most important empty room in history. He felt the approach of Holy Week the way a sailor feels a change in the weather, in advance in the body, before it fully arrives. He often spoke about the final days of Lent as a period of unusual spiritual intensity, not in a frightening way, but in a serious one. He noticed over his decades of ministry that many people entered this season without preparation. They arrived at Easter Sunday having lived through Holy Week the way one might live through any other week, distracted, busy, spiritually unaware, and they missed it. They were present for the feast but had not prepared for the encounter. This troubled him, because Easter, for Padre Pio, was not something you could simply show up for and receive passively. It required something from the person, an opening, a readiness, a deliberate act of making space. In the heart, yes, but also in the home. And this is where the gesture comes in. What Padre Pio recommended placing in the window was a blessed palm branch, the one brought home from Palm Sunday, kept with intention, and placed in the front window of the home before Holy Week ends. If you don't have one, a small crucifix facing outward carries the same meaning. So does a blessed medal of Our Lady, or a rosary placed with care across the windowsill. But the palm branch, for Padre Pio, held something particular. Because it belongs to this season, to these exact days, in a way that no other object quite does. It arrives in your hands on Palm Sunday, the very Sunday that opens Holy Week. It has already been blessed. It already carries the memory of Christ entering Jerusalem, of the crowd that laid branches at his feet, not yet knowing what the week ahead would hold. To place it in your window before Easter is to participate, in a small but genuine way, in that same procession. To say, he is coming, and this home is ready to receive him. That is the answer. And now you understand why it matters. There is a story, shared among the communities that have long gathered around Padre Pio's memory, of a woman named Carmela, who came to San Giovanni Rotondo in the early 1960s, carrying a burden that had become almost unbearable. Her home had been shadowed for years by conflict, between her and her husband, between siblings, between generations. She described it as a heaviness that no one could shake. When she went to confession with Padre Pio, she did not expect practical advice. She expected prayer, perhaps penance, the usual movements of the sacrament. Instead, he said something that stayed with her for the rest of her life. He told her, "When you return home, take the palm branch from last year, or ask the priest for a new one, and place it in the window before Easter. Do it as an act of surrender. Tell God, this house is yours. I cannot carry it alone." She almost dismissed the advice as too simple, too small for the size of what she was carrying, but she did it. On the Wednesday of Holy Week, she placed the blessed palm branch in the front window of her home and said, in words she later described as barely more than a whisper, "Lord, I give you this house. I don't know how to fix it, you do." She did not experience an instant transformation. Her husband did not change overnight. The conflicts did not vanish. But she said something loosened in her. A knot she had been holding for years released just slightly in the act of placing that palm branch in the window. The gesture had done something that years of worry had not been able to do. It had moved her from a posture of control to a posture of trust. And from that small shift, she later said, everything else slowly began to change. This is exactly what Padre Pio was pointing toward. Not magic, not a guaranteed outcome, but the spiritual mechanics of what happens when a person translates inner faith into outward action, when belief stops being purely interior and finds a form in the world. He understood with a clarity born of long experience that we are not purely spiritual beings. We have bodies, we live in space, we are shaped, more than we usually acknowledge, by what we see, what surrounds us, what our eyes land on in the ordinary moments of an ordinary day. A sacred object in a window is not a talisman, but it is a reminder. Every time you pass it, every time the morning light catches it, every time a child in the household asks what it is and why it's there, it does its quiet work. It calls you back to something. It keeps the door of awareness open. Padre Pio spoke often about the atmosphere of a home. He taught that the interior life of the people who live in a space leaves something behind, not in a way that defies explanation, but in the simple, observable sense that habits shape environments. A home where anger goes unaddressed becomes a place where tension is the background note. A home where forgiveness is practiced, where prayer is regular, where faith is expressed, develops a different texture. Something that visitors notice before they can name it, something that the people who live there breathe in every day. Placing a sacred sign in the window before Easter is one piece of a larger preparation. Padre Pio was clear that the object alone accomplishes nothing without the intention behind it. He would have been the first to say, "Don't put the palm branch in the window," and then shout at your children 5 minutes later and consider the spiritual work done. The gesture is a beginning, a declaration of direction. It says, this is the kind of home we want to be. And then the rest of the season, the prayer, the mass, the confession, the acts of reconciliation within the family, gives that declaration substance. Think about what happens in your home in the week before Easter. Practically speaking, the shopping, the cooking, the coordinating of family visits, the logistics of Easter Sunday, all of it real, all of it necessary, and all of it capable of completely swallowing the spiritual meaning of the season if we let it. The palm branch in the window is a counterweight to all of that. A small, persistent, visible reminder that underneath all the activity, something else is happening. Something more important than the meal, more significant than the gathering, more lasting than the holiday. The tradition Padre Pio drew from is ancient. In the book of Exodus, before the first Passover, the event that Easter itself is rooted in, the people of Israel were given a specific instruction. They were to mark the doorposts and lintels of their homes with the blood of a lamb, not because the blood had some chemical property that kept harm away, but because the act of marking was an act of faith. It was obedience made visible. It was a family saying, in the most concrete way possible, "We belong to God. We are under this covenant. We have heard and we have acted." God honored it, not because of the blood itself, but because of what the blood represented. And Padre Pio returned to this story throughout his ministry because he saw in it a principle that does not age. God works through the concrete, through the small, faithful, physical act, through the person who believes enough not just to feel something, but to do something about it. Placing the palm branch in your window before Easter is your version of that ancient marking. Not identical to it, not magical in the way a superstitious mind might hope, but spiritually continuous with it. A way of saying, this threshold has been consciously claimed. What enters here enters a home that has been offered to God, and there is something worth sitting with in the specific placement, the window. Not a shelf in the back bedroom, not an interior wall where only the family sees it. The window, facing outward. Padre Pio understood the symbolism here without needing to explain it at length. The window is where light enters the house. It is the permeable place. Not a wall, not a door, but a membrane through which the outside world and the inside world remain in contact. To place something sacred, there is to say, let the light that enters this home pass through faith first. Let it be filtered through what we believe. It is also quietly a witness, not an aggressive one, not a sermon to the neighborhood, just a presence, a small sign that someone inside this house still believes. That faith is not only a private matter, but a lived one, expressed in the texture of daily life, visible to the world in the most understated way possible. Padre Pio cared deeply about this. He believed that Christians had a responsibility not just to believe privately, but to let their belief take up space in the world, gently, humbly, but genuinely. So as Easter approaches, here is what we are inviting you to do. Find a blessed palm branch, from your parish, from Palm Sunday, from a family member who has one. If you cannot find one, a small crucifix or a medal of Our Lady will carry the same intention. Hold it for a moment before you place it. You don't need formal words, you don't need to be eloquent. Speak the way you would speak to someone you trust completely. Say simply, this home is yours. Protect what is inside it. Let your light come in. Then place it in the window, deliberately, with care. Not as a chore, but as a prayer. And then let it remain there through Holy Week and the Easter season. Let it do its quiet work. Let it be the thing your eyes find in the early morning when the house is still. Let it be the thing your children ask about, giving you the chance to say, we do this because we believe. We do this because this home has been offered to God. A family from Portugal, 3 generations of women who kept this practice, whose story has been shared in Padre Pio devotional communities, described it this way. They could not point to a single dramatic moment and say, this happened because of the palm branch, but they could say that their home had an identity, a spiritual continuity, a sense that faith was not something they visited on Sundays, but something they lived in, something embedded in the walls and the windows and the ordinary rhythms of their days. And that sense of continuity, they believed, was one of the most important things they had ever passed on to their children. That is not nothing. In a world that moves as fast as ours does, in a culture that makes it very easy for faith to be the first thing dropped when life gets busy, a small yearly gesture that anchors a home to something eternal is not nothing. It is, in its quiet way, everything. Padre Pio closed many of his letters with words that his spiritual children memorized and carried with them. Pray, hope, and don't worry. God is merciful and will hear your prayer. That is the spirit in which we invite you to place your sacred sign in the window this Easter, not with anxiety, not as a desperate attempt to secure something, but with the calm, open-handed trust of someone who has done what they can and offered the rest. who has said clearly and simply, "Lord, this home is yours. Prepare your home. Prepare your heart." Because Easter is not just a date arriving on the calendar. It is an encounter, the most important one available to us, with a love that went all the way into death and came all the way back out of it unchanged, undefeated, and completely, undeniably alive. If something in this message has spoken to you today, we would love to hear from you. Write in the comments, "My home belongs to God." Let that small declaration join the voices of everyone watching this, from wherever they are, and become its own kind of prayer. If you know someone who is carrying something heavy this Easter season, someone who needs to hear that their home, their family, their life has not been forgotten, please share this video with them. You may never know how much that single act of kindness means, and if this community has been a place of faith and strength for you, please support it by leaving a like, sharing this message, and becoming a member of this channel. We are not here to build something for ourselves. We are here together to keep this light burning and to carry it as far as it will go. God bless your home. God bless your family. And may this Easter bring into every room of your life the light that no darkness has ever been able to put out.